Squid Game vs. dystopian Japanese series Alice in Borderland. Another Netflix original, Alice in Borderland, is gaining attraction as a result of its parallels to Squid Game. Fans are already debating on social media which series is better, Alice in Borderland or Squid Game. While they're both good in their own ways, some claim that one is ultimately better. So let's take a look at which show is better based on its first season. Now is the time to hit that like button and subscribe to 10 Zone. Lead characters. Which series has a more intriguing protagonist? In Alice in Borderland, the video game-obsessed Ryohei Arisu, portrayed by Kento Yamazaki, finds himself in the mysterious Borderland, where individuals are compelled to play deadly games to have their visas extended. Unlike Seong Gi-hun, played by Lee Jung-jae in Squid Game, who chooses to participate in the deadly games on an unknown island twice, Arisu and his friends are just three of the unfortunate people who arrive in the Borderland, and they have no option to flee, whereas Gi-hun and the remaining competitors have the opportunity to quit or return if the majority agrees. Arisu, the protagonist in Alice in Borderland, who is an ardent gamer, intelligently uses his deep logic and game sense to solve mysteries and puzzles so that he and his friends may finish and survive the games, and it's satisfying to see how he uses his brains to find solutions. While Gi-hun lacks Arisu's intellectual prowess, the Squid Game protagonist is more relatable to the audience. The divorced gambler who needs money to get custody of his daughter will remind you of Adam Sandler's Howard Ratner in Uncut Gems. In comparison to Arisu, his character is more imperfect and realistic. While each lead is intriguing in their own right, the protagonist of Squid Game saw more character development than Arisu, courtesy of Lee Jung-jae's outstanding performance. Although Yamazaki's performance in Alice in Borderland was emotionally strong at points, his character felt lifeless at times, which is characteristic of someone based on a Japanese anime or manga series. As a result, Squid Game earns a point here. Characters and supporting roles. Which show has the most engaging supporting cast? Unlike the competitors in Alice in Borderland, who come from various walks of life, the organizers of the Squid Game competition handpick people who are drowning in debt and are struggling in the real world. They're also more relatable than the characters in Haru Aso's graphic novel, Alice in Borderland. But the ordinary and more realistic aren't better than Alice's tough and cool characters in this situation. Shuntaro Chishiya, played by Nijiro Murakami, is arguably the most badass character from a live-action anime adaptation, not to mention the thrilling action scenes from Yuzuha Usagi, portrayed in this film by Tao Chichiya. Stronger female characters can also be found in Alice in Borderland. Ayaka Miyoshi, playing the role of Anne Rizuna, a member of the Beach, who uses rational reasoning to win difficult games, is also intriguing. On the other hand, despite having a stronger protagonist, Squid Game lacks the feminine power of Alice in Borderland, and recognizable characters, allies, and villains. Plot. Which series has a more interesting story so far? We'll take a closer look at both of their stories based on their first seasons alone, because their sequels haven't been released yet. Despite their apparent differences, the two shows share a similar basis. Both characters find themselves in a survival contest, where they meet other contestants who are also attempting to survive while trying to solve the riddle. The protagonist Gi-hun is at the center of Squid Game's plot, and we see his struggle as a gambling-obsessed father living in his mother's house and drowning in debt in the first episode. Despite his weaknesses, it's easy to sympathize with him, because we can understand the driving force behind his desire for money, his daughter. Of course, he wants to pay off his obligations and have enough money to support his mother's medical expenses after learning that she has diabetes. However, in Arisu's Borderland, Alice? Not at all. We don't even know what Alice's final prize in Borderlands game is. Arisu's only goal is to live and find a way out of the enigmatic Borderland. But why should we care? Everyone else in the game is attempting to achieve the same thing. Why should he go back to his old life? The stakes don't appear to be as high as Gi-hun's. Sure, in their most devastating games, Alice in Borderland's Seven of Hearts and Squid Game's fourth game Marbles, both protagonists have traumatic experiences. Arisu is heartbroken by the loss of his best friends, Chitasagawa and Daikichi Karubi, and you can feel his misery as he sobs. In episode 6 of Squid Game, competitors are forced to team up in pairs and play a marble game of their choice, until they grab all 10 marbles from the other person, with the loser being killed. Unfortunately, the important characters we care about are paired up, so there's a lot of misery in both directions, not just from Gi-hun's point of view, and when one of those pairs loses, there's a lot of sadness in both directions. Both Alice in Borderland and Squid Game are about people fighting to survive death games, and how these games have changed them at their core. Yet it's evident that Squid Game's plot has more depth than Alice's. The games. Which games have a better chance of winning? In terms of the games themselves, both shows have only two conceivable outcomes. You either win or you die. Given that both events place a strong emphasis on the physique, what does it take to gain an advantage over the competition? This is where Alice and Squid Game part ways. The majority of games in Alice can be solved with some big brain thinking. For example, after you figure out the solution to games like tag and distance, you don't have to play as much. It's even feasible to win the game in distance without breaking a sweat. However, in Squid Game, all of the games feature rather clear techniques that don't allow for any creative thinking, except in the classic Dalgona candy game, when the protagonist discovers that licking it is more effective. It's best to concentrate on building muscle if you want to win. The grand reward. Which prize is worth putting one's life at stake for? The reward the players are technically winning in Alice is extra days to live. You can earn leniency from the ubiquitous death laser with each finished game, which is ready to zap you if you run out of days. There is no grand prize to be won, at least none that we're aware of. Winning the last game of Squid Game, on the other hand, will reward you $51.9 million. If each dish costs $3, that's 17.3 million plates of chicken rice, enough to feed the whole population of Singapore 3 plates apiece. While $51.9 million may seem like a good investment, you can't spend it all if you're dead. And in order to stay alive, you'd have to complete every game that was designed to kill you. Since we've shown that Alice's games are easier to win, you'll have a better chance of surviving overall, providing you an advantage over the perilous Squid Game and allowing you to live another day. As the second season of Alice in Borderland is already in the works, and while Netflix hasn't confirmed a Squid Game sequel considering the show's tremendous international success, there's a good chance it will be approved. Both of these series are going to continuously give their best for everyone to see. For your convenience and enjoyment, be sure to find TenZone on Facebook and Instagram. And before that, be sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to TenZone, and share this video.